Namaste. So the practice we're going to move into today is to help lower anxiety and stress hormones in the body. Now, I've personally experienced stress and anxiety to the degree where I used to suffer panic attacks. And I know personally that when you're in this very heightened state of mind, some forms of yoga and meditation just aren't going to help. So you're far too heightened, far too much in that fight or flight zone to be able to sit calmly and meditate, or even to be able to breathe properly and to focus on the breath, particularly if you're on the verge of a panic attack. So this is a sequence of poses and breathing practices that I like to utilize when I can feel myself heading into that zone, that can help just back you off out of that really heightened state of mind, that really panicked state. One of the things that I suggest you do if you are prone to high levels of anxiety is to learn to recognize what are your triggers, and also what are those red flags to look for that are indicating perhaps that you're really heading into that high state of anxiety. For me, I clean. So I've learnt over the years that when I'm feeling particularly stressed and worked up, or maybe really emotional about something and I'm not ready to deal with it yet, I go on a massive cleaning spree, because to me it's the one thing that I feel I can control, and I get that immediate gratification. But I've also learnt that that's a red flag, and that unless I do this type of practice and pull myself back, my health and mental health will begin to suffer if I can continue down that road. So become the witness of your body and observe your behavior, and see if you can make those connections in regards to things that you may do when you're particularly heightened, that may then sort of set off that warning sign that you're escalating into that really anxious state of mind that will then begin to affect your health and, of course, your hormone structure as well. So let's get into the practice. If you have a bolster, that can be nice to use. If not, that's okay. We don't have to have a bolster. You'll still get the benefit of the practice without. Or you can improvise and use some rolled up towels or cushions or the like. Just a quick mention about some of the poses that we're going to practice today. So forward folds in particular are really beneficial for when you're feeling very stressed and heightened. And the reason being is because as we come forward into the forward fold, we're toning and activating a lot of the nerves along the spine that help to bring us into the parasympathetic nervous system. See if you can hold the forward fold for as long as you possibly can without the temptation to move. So my theory is, if you come into a forward fold and you want to move, you're not there yet. So see if you can stay and stay and stay until that need to move drops away, and then you know you're starting to really calm yourself down. So in all things, be the witness, be the observer, and know that you don't have to react. So if your body's telling you to move, you don't have to react to that. You have the choice as to whether you move or whether you stay. We're going to practice some breathing, some pranayama, to help lower those anxiety and stress hormones, and also to bring you into a deeper rhythm of breathing. So we know that when we're stressed and heightened, we tend to mostly just breathe from the chest, from the upper lobes of the lungs. It's that sort of short, gaspy breath. And quite often we're not aware that we're doing it. This is heightening the body and quite often making your symptoms of anxiety worse. So we want that longer, deeper breath in the body. So we're just going to sit nice and tall and bring the hands out in front of you. Start with closed fist. And as we breathe in, I'm going to slowly, to the count of 5, open the hands out like you're opening a flower. And as you breathe out, we close the flower off. And we're working for the 5 fingers that you have on each hand. So we exhale to 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale to 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And just keep moving through at your own time. You may be finding that your breath already is starting to slow down. And maybe you want to slow down this count. Let's do 2 more. And just working with this same technique of pairing movement with the breath. We're going to continue to deepen the breath a little more, working down into the belly now. So as you inhale, I'm going to sweep the arms up and overhead. And exhale, float them back down. So it's inhale. Bring the hands together above the head and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 2 more. And slightly different variation for the shoulder rotation, bringing the hands out in front. We inhale the palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, push the hands back down towards the earth, dropping the shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale. And exhale. Just seeing if you can lengthen that breath now with the movement in your body. Let's do one more. Beautiful. Let's grab hold of the bolster and we're going to come into a supported child's pose. So a pose that I really like to practice when I'm feeling really very heightened, very panicked, very stressed. So supporting yourself here as you fold down into your child's pose, opening the knees out nice and wide, hugging the bolster, just turning your head to one side and just settling in here until that need to move passes. Breathing in deeply into the belly. See if you can allow the belly to expand on the inward breath into your bolster. And on the outward breath, just gently tucking it in. And maybe as your breath is starting to lengthen, you can draw that breath into the back of the body. See if you can feel the expansion of your lower back as you breathe in. Maybe that breath continues to move up through the back of the rib cage. You start to connect a little more now with those subtle sensations in the body. I'm going to hold here for a little longer. You may like to turn your head to the opposite side. Just really allowing yourself to drop deeply into the pose. Let's take 2 more breaths. Nice, deep, expansive breathing. And slowly starting to roll up through the spine. Just bringing your support out in front of you. You come onto your forearms, hands and knees, and lowering the head down onto your bolster. Just finding a comfortable position for the head. So really you want to be on the crown of your head, so the highest point of your head. And one of the best ways in which to find this spot is to really tuck your chin. So you're trying to get your chin towards your chest and then lower your head down onto your support. And you can either keep the hands here by your side or maybe coming into a hair stretch. So bringing the hands around behind you, interlace the fingers and draw those hands up towards the ceiling, pulling the shoulders back. And we're just bringing some renewed, fresh blood flow and oxygen into the head.
which can really help calm your thoughts, calm anxiety, and ease tension headaches. Two more breaths. And slowly bringing the hands down and just keeping your head lower than your heart. We're just going to drop the hips back towards the heels, bring the forehead down onto the mat for a moment, just connecting that third eye with the ground beneath you, and just allowing that blood to flow back evenly through the body before we sit up. Deep breathing, breathing into the back of the rib cage, breathing into your kidneys. And slowly rolling up, just seeing if you can slow all your movement down now, so nothing's rushed. And just staying here in a hero's pose on your knees, if that feels comfortable. Or if you need to come down into a cross-legged position, then you're welcome to do so. Just bringing the hands out in front, making fists. We're going to start to circle the hands around, just warming up the wrists. And flowing through opposite direction. And we're warming up these wrists so that we can now come into a simhasana or a lion's pose. So opening the knees out to the outer edges of your mat. I'll just move my bolster for a moment. We're turning the fingers in towards the body as you come down onto the palms of your hands, just ensuring that your hands are shoulder width apart. And we're getting a beautiful stretch down through the forearm and down into the wrist. And it's thought that this stretch is, again, toning a lot of the nerve endings that help to activate the parasympathetic nervous system and bring us into that calmer state of mind. Just lifting the buttocks up off the heels somewhat, but arching the back, pulling the chest forward, lifting the gaze, and just gazing out through your third eye, bringing some blood flow into the pituitary gland here, helping with maintaining hormone balance, hormone structure in the body. It's a beautiful stretch for the back. And we sit as that watchful lion, that graceful lion, just watching, observing the mind, observing the body. Maybe you can envision yourself as a lion, a proud lion or lioness, overlooking your valley. One more breath. Just dropping chin to chest. We'll come up out of that pose, coming onto hands and knees. You might like to take a couple of rotations through the wrist just to release from that one. And we'll move through some cat and cow. So knees are hip distance apart, palms are underneath your shoulders. Let's inhale, nice and slowly, dropping the belly, gentle hug of the lower belly, pulling shoulders back. Exhale, rounding chin to chest, tucking the belly in. Inhale. And let's just close down the eyes, connecting with your body, connecting with your breath. Just slowing everything down now. Watching whether there's still that urgency to move, to rush, to move on to something else. And that's okay if it's still there. We're just watching now. Perhaps you've really been heightened this week or today. There's no judgment. There's no feelings of, I should be relaxing. I should be more present. It's just what it is at this point in time. And it will pass, as it always does. Let's take two more. Beautiful. Just sliding that support back out underneath you. We're going to come down to bring your chest onto the bolster. Hands are shoulder distance apart, just lengthening the legs behind you. And we come into a Sphinx pose. So just pulling the shoulders back gently, relaxing through the pelvis, closing down the eyes. Maybe taking a lick of your lips, if you can soften your jaw. And again, we're gazing out through that third eye, Agya chakra, our center of wisdom and intuition, where we connect with our higher selves, our higher consciousness. We become the witness, the observer of the body and of the mind. Let's take two more breaths. Just dropping chin to chest for a moment. I'm going to reach the arms out to the outer corners of your mat, so taking a wider position with your hands. I'm going to lift the chest a little higher this time, pressing your pelvis down into your mat and coming into a seal pose. So opening up a little more into the heart, just opening and stretching a little more through the back. This time as you breathe in, see if you can draw that breath up from the belly to under the rib cage and even into the back of your heart space. And get a really nice deep opening here into that space, into that heart chakra. Let's take 2 more breaths. Beautiful. Chin down towards the chest. Slide your hands in and just remove that support underneath you for a moment. And to interlace the fingers in front of you, draw your right knee up towards your right elbow and then bring your right elbow over towards the knee and just turn onto your side somewhat so you're comfortable. Lowering your head down onto your hands and completely relaxing the body here. We have a very subtle twist through the spine. Again, toning those spinal nerves and invoking a nice state of relaxation and calmness, peacefulness on the body. This is a nice one to practice if you suffer things like sciatica or lower back complaints, lower back discomfort. Just noticing if there's any part of the body that's clenching, tightening, hanging on. See if you can give it permission to relax now. Just to let go, to surrender into the moment. One more breath on this side. And then just coming back through center, we take that flapping fish pose on the opposite side. So drawing the left knee up towards the elbow, elbow comes towards the knee, turning the head to the side and just making yourself comfortable. So there's no need to be uncomfortable in this pose. The idea is to find rest. If you need cushions or support underneath you in various places, please by all means utilize that. Don't suffer through it, because then we're missing the opportunity to really rest and restore the body. Seeing if you can find that deeper diaphragmatic breath, drawing the breath all the way down into the pit of the belly. Just slowing everything down. Just watching your thoughts. They often become busier as the mind quietens. Oh, that's okay. We're watching as the witness now. We're no longer a part of it. You don't need to tell the mind to be quiet or to shut the thoughts out. We're also not investing in them or allowing stories to build. We're just watching. Let's take one more breath on this side. And take your time now. There's absolutely no rush to move. Just going to find our way back into our supported child's pose for a moment. Hands can either stretch out in front, or this time you may like to wrap them around the body, maybe grabbing hold of your feet. Just connecting with the soles of your feet. And slowly, in your own time, rolling on up. And just coming down onto your buttocks, bringing the right foot to the inside of your left thigh. You may like to place your support along the length of that leg if you're using it. We're going to practice a Janusasana, or head to knee pose, which helps to massage and tone the kidneys and the adrenal glands. So the adrenal glands are involved in producing our stress hormones, and they can become exhausted just as we do. So let's fold down over the support. You want to feel a stretch down through the side of your body, down into that kidney region, and maybe down into your hips. So you'll notice that on one side of the body we're stretching and opening, and on the other side of the body we're folding and massaging. It doesn't matter if you can't quite bring your head down onto the bolster. You're welcome, if it feels uncomfortable on the neck, to add some extra support, so maybe another couple of cushions or a block. Again, the idea is to make yourself comfortable here. And start to feel into the subtle sensations of the breath moving through the body. As you inhale, your body will lift and open somewhat. As you exhale, you fold down a little closer towards that leg. Shoulders drop, head grows heavy. Just go with it now, don't fight against it. Allow the body to respond to the pose in the way that it wants to. One more breath. Let's roll on up. You might like to bring that bolster or that support to the opposite side. And we're going to come up onto that right knee. Coming into a gate pose. So just sliding that left leg long. You just sort of roughly want the knee in line with the arch of the foot. And we're going to reach that top arm up and over the head. So we're getting a nice long stretch through the tip of the fingers all the way down to that extended leg. Just noticing how your neck feels. So if it's too much for you to look up underneath the arm, you may like to shift your gaze down towards the floor. One more breath here. And let's lower down. And we'll just move through to the opposite side. So right leg extends, left leg to the inside of the thigh. Support on the leg if you're using it. Turn to face those toes and let's fold down into our Janu Sasasana. And breathing here. And just breathing into those kidneys now. We know that where we draw our attention in the body, we also have the ability to draw energy and blood flow to that part of the body. So if you are looking to give your kidneys and your adrenal glands a little bit of love and support, just see if you can visualize the breath moving into that part of the body. Feel the breath there. Let's take 2 more breaths. Slowly roll on up. Bring your support to that opposite side. Let's come into our gate pose or mermaid pose. Reaching that top arm up and over. And either looking up or looking down. Stretching through that top side of the body. Opening into the heart, the chest, all the way down to the hip. Stretching through the inside of the leg. And lowering that hand down. Let's come on down onto our buttocks. Just taking a little walk out. Just taking a little walk out of the feet. A couple of rotations with the ankles. Lovely. I'm just going to move this bolster for a moment. I'm going to come on down onto your back and draw the knees in towards the chest, just giving yourself a hug here. Really pressing the lower back down into the mat. And maybe taking a couple of gentle rolls side to side. See if you can massage that lower back. And then just dropping those feet down and walking the feet to the outer edges of the mat. We're going to open the hands out into a T. I haven't quite got the space here with both arms, but extending both arms out into a T shape. Going to drop the knees down to one side and just turn the head in the opposite direction. And just hover here for a moment, breathing into the belly. And then flowing through to the opposite side. I've got the wall in the way, unfortunately, but dropping the knees all the way down. And then coming back through to center, grabbing hold of your bolster and just deciding where you would like to place it. So whether you're going to put it underneath your knees, or you may like to experiment with releasing a little more through the lower back by sliding it underneath the buttocks and extending the legs long. We get a nice opening through the hips, gentle stretching through the psoas muscles here, which can be quite beneficial for menstrual health, releasing into the psoas. So releasing any tightness there. And just bringing your hands to rest on the belly. And just resting here for a few moments in your Shavasana. Watching that flow of breath moving through your body. Seeing if for 5 complete rounds you can follow the inhale all the way through to the exhale. And if you find that your mind keeps wandering off, which it tends to do, you may like to say something like, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. 5 rounds. And if you've had the bolster underneath your buttocks, just slowly walking it away from you. Draw the knees in towards the chest, pressing that lower back down into the mat. Rolling to one side and taking your time to come on up. Just coming back to a meditation pose. Sitting tall. Let's take a deep breath in, raise the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale the hands down to the heart center in prayer hands. Again, we inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale down. One more time, inhale, breathing up. And exhale the hands down.
Namaste.